7 o'clock, all 7 board members present. Item 2.01, approve the agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
All right, it's been moved by Susan, seconded by Brian, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. I think we're going to skip ahead real fast to article number 4 here, reports and presentations. And we're going to go to the 4.04, the OMS report from Carmen Schaefer, because she has some students here who probably need to get home and do homework and stuff.
I'm sure that's what they all have to do, right? No. No, why don't you guys come on up?
I actually have 3 separate groups here, and hopefully throughout the school year, you'll have them be able to come and visit and share a little more about what they're about and what they're doing in different projects. But I wanted to share 3 things that we have going on at school that really, one in particular, was initiated by students. And I will share that group last, actually. The first group I want to share is AVID, and you know a little bit, obviously, about AVID. AVID stands for, can my AVID students help me? Oh, why don't you come up, introduce yourself, and then share it.
I'm Grace Collins, and AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination.
And with that, advancement is progressing, obviously. Via, we always talk about that being their vehicle. Individual, themselves, and determination. They have to be determined to want to do well in school. And AVID is about those rigorous classes. It's about getting into those classes that might be a little bit of a struggle, taking those higher level courses, and their goal is to do what?
Go to college.
Go to college. And not just a college, they want a college to want them. AVID students typically have colleges asking for them to go to school. And so that is our goal for these guys, for colleges to be saying, you know what, we want you. We'll actually pay you to come to our school. That is our goal. So I'm going to have the AVID students step forward, and I'm going to have them share their names first, and they are very on the spot. Well, a little bit, you might get some questions, so I'm totally comfortable with these individuals. So introduce yourself, and then share one thing that you absolutely love. Anybody bring one? You brought one, Sarah, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
She's so great. What you love about AVID. You can go first. Right here at the microphone.
My name's Brittany Smith, and my favorite thing about AVID is the tutors.
And why do you like the tutors?
Because they help me with like my confusions and everything.
Do they answer your questions? Sorry. Do they answer your questions with an answer, or what do they make you do?
They help me with the question. They don't answer it for me because they help me answer it.
Yes. Their goal is to what? Anybody elaborate on that? Any AVID individual?
To lead them to the.
You want to share? So come up here, please. Introduce yourself.
I'm Sarah Ward, and the AVID tutors try to lead you to the answer.
So their goal is not to give you the answer.
No.
And what do you like about AVID?
I really love my AVID class. They are like my family.
Very great. And why is it important that you like your class? Because what's going to happen?
We're going to be with them till we go to college.
You are. They are going to be together until they graduate high school. This AVID class they are in has to be their family. So they are going to fight, cuss, and discuss, and then come to conclusions and solutions together. And it just so happens, I'm going to have Brent go next. He came in. Introduce yourself and share your favorite thing about AVID. First, introduce yourself. That's the easiest part.
I'm Brent Hornbuckle, and my favorite thing about AVID would be getting out of the reading class.
But does it take the place of reading?
Sorta.
Sort of. What are some things what is one of the things you did this last week with Mr. Tokars? I know that you shared that with me. You guys had to get up and do what?
We had to make a speech that was 5 minutes long, and we had a week to come up with it.
And what was your speech about?
How I got my new horse.
How you got your new horse. All right, very nice. Okay, and when you already introduced yourself, thanks, Brent. You might have to come back up. And reintroduce yourself and share what you absolutely love about AVID.
I'm Grace Collins, and the thing that I love about AVID is that teachers expect a lot from us, and it gives us a goal to reach.
Very nice. this, do I have any other Avids that I skipped over? I think that's our Avid group. That is our Avid group, so if you have any questions for them, I'm sure be happy to answer them. I know they can. Sarah loves answering questions. I know. Any questions for our Avid kids? Very proud of them. They step up. They truly do. They really do. So, Avid guys, why don't you have a seat? Thank you. Sarah, that's what I meant to do. That's why I had her go get it. Tell me about, and you can do it from there. You can go back to your seat. Crack that open and tell us a little bit about your binder. This is something that every Avid student has, and they are checked on a regular basis. This is vital to their Avid class. So talk to us about it.
Okay, well, we have to have a pencil bag first, and then we have to have our planner, and we have to carry that. And then we have our folders, usually in order of our classes, and we keep everything all year, and it has to have the date on it, so we can just flip to it really easily. And then we keep at least 2 pencils, highlighters, and at least 1 big eraser.
What is the most important? You had mentioned notes. What style of notes do you guys take?
We have to take Cornell notes.
Talk to me a little bit about Cornell notes.
The left side column is smaller than the right side, and it's for questions, and it tells the topic. And the right side is for and answering questions.
And you would definitely put you on the spot to be able to do that. But I knew you would step up. Okay, I'm going to have this young lady introduce herself and share her favorite thing, or something that she likes about it. Oh, and this is her. All binders look differently. This is her notebook. Same thing. She has a nice picture in there, pencil. Here's her planner, all of her notes. I see Cornell notes. Kudos for you. And then everything is separated by subject matter. So go ahead and introduce yourself and share what you like about it.
My name is Rachel Starr, and the thing I really like about Avid is it's a chance for me to maybe get an easier start on maybe a higher career that I want to do, like maybe be a veterinarian. And that's what I like about Avid.
You may have a seat with your giant binder that I asked you to. All right. Any other questions for Avid? Anywhere you want, sweetie. Any other questions for Avid? All right. The next group, and again, I want these to be quick little snapshots of some different things we have going on, are our ambassadors. Some of our Avid students are also ambassadors, and I'll have them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what they do, and then I can maybe ask some questions and prod a little bit. Ambassadors, who's first? Oh, Matt. Oh, yeah. I know. There you go, Matt.
Hello, my name is Matt Robbins.
And tell us a little bit about what you guys do. I know you know this answer.
Ambassadors do lead the 6th graders around. We basically help Ottawa Middle School.
What do you do on Fridays? Once a month, twice a month? We just got done doing, you guys just got done doing, I didn't tell you.
We do web assemblies.
What'd you guys do this month?
We did like a dance competition.
And who won?
6th
The
grade.
faculty won that one.
Yeah, faculty did win that one.
Faculty answer also. All right. Other ambassadors, you want to come up? Anything that Matt might have forgotten? Introduce yourself first and something else that you guys have done.
I'm Megan Fisher. He basically said everything. I think so.
Okay, and this is Megan. What they do is they have these. I'm going to have her be our Vanna. You're going to close your shirts. This is when we have events going on like the craft fair, new students coming to school, activities going on with the public is coming in. Our ambassadors are the first people they see. And so the comment is, how can we help you? And so they want people to be comfortable coming up saying, I don't know where this is. A new student comes to school, they can walk them around the building, share with the parents and things about school. That is their job, to acclimate people that are new coming into the building about what we're all about. And they do a fantastic job. Matt had said they plan the spirit assembly. They plan the whole thing. Mrs. Lyman is a sponsor, but they actually plan it. They get out there and they do all the talking. I don't have to say anything other than it's now time for bus people to leave. And they do a phenomenal job. I'm very proud of them. And getting up in front of 551 people, that's hard. They do a great job. So, any questions for our ambassadors? We have one more ambassador? Oh.
You forgot a t-shirt for us.
Anything you want to share about what we might have forgotten?
I guess we're the first people that the sixth graders or new students see when we first come in the building.
And we had a whole day, even though we lost Web and the financing for Web, these guys took it on. And they actually did activities, walked the kids through their schedule, and still said, you know what, here I am. I'm a 7th grader, I'm an 8th grader. Come see me if you have a question about middle school. I'd be happy to help you. So, very good. Thank you very much.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes,
what grade are the ambassadors?
7th and 8th graders.
7th and 8th.
It used to be Web was just 8th grade, and it was an interview. But you know what? We had students sign up for it, and really anyone that was interested in being a part of it in 7th and 8th grade, they took it on. It's great. Okay. Any other ambassadors I'm missing out on? Anything else? Okay. Thank you, ambassadors. You guys can have a seat. And our last group. This is the group that was actually initiated by students in our building through a survey. We had talked about bullying in our building, and we talked about how can we help it. Last year, I believe it was last year or the year before, I forget exactly when, we had a student come in and say, you know what, why don't we have a group that helps other students with the bullying as far as how to handle it? And they said, you know, we know what bullies are. We know what they look like. How can we as a bystander help someone in a situation where they're being bullied? And so they started BOB, Bystanders Over Bullies. And Mr. Horsch leads that group, and they meet at lunch. So they give up their lunchtime, they have lunch with Mr. Horsch, and they talk about how they can help some different things within our building that might come up. So I have some individuals, I'll have them introduce themselves and share maybe something they've been working on.
Hi, my name is Peyton Schaefer, and Bob is wait. What
is Bob?
Bob is where if you like see bullying, we report it to a teacher or help out. Like, don't help the bully, help the kid that's getting bullied.
What's the project you guys are just today, Mr. Horsch brought it up. What's a project you guys are going to be working on?
We're doing a project that we can either talk on the radio, make a TV station, poster, play, or a book about what Bob is. So we're going to be working on that for the past couple days. Probably another month.
There you go. Good answer. Okay, thank you.
My name is Alex Edwards, and Bob was initiated when I was in 6th grade. And every year that I've been in school at OMS, Bob has grown a little bit. This year we have 4 6th grade groups?
Absolutely.
4 6th grade groups. And I'm like, geez. It honestly just knocked me dead.
And why do you want to be a part of that? How can you?
It gives us a sense of security in the school, knowing that we don't have to go through bullying, basically. That's basically
Anything
it.
else you want to share?
No?
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrew Roberts, and bullying is because if someone's being bullied, you should report it to a teacher.
Why do you like being a part of that group?
Because I like doing the activities and helping people out.
I wasn't able to get a 7th grade representative, but both these two men are 8th grade representatives. They have been a part of Bob since the beginning,
Yes.
and Peyton is a 6th grade representative. So again,
Can I say why I joined Bob?
why did you join Bob?
I joined Bob because in my previous schools I got bullied.
And so what did you want to do?
Stop it.
And these guys do a great job. It's about solving problems, not about creating more. They understand what the problems are. It's not about dwelling on that. It's about how are we going to fix them. And they are going to do radio ads, and I told them I'd pick a 6th grader, a 7th grader, and an 8th grader. And then on our Friday, when I go and do the radio show, I'll invite the winners for those that are voted on by the kids, and we'll present that information on the radio show. They're fired up about it. So, okay? Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Do they meet,
Any questions? I'm sorry.
do you guys meet daily, weekly, or do you have lunch every day as a Bob group?
It's for the whole thing, it's a weekly thing. Each group meets once a week.
Okay.
Whether for the 6th grade, they'll rotate, this week it was 6A turn to start, and they'll go B, C, and D. Next week it'll be start with B, and then C, and then D, and so forth.
The reason is we have so many kids that are interested, that Mr. Horsch has to give up every lunch
Right.
to go and do that. So he tries to do that by getting all the groups in every week.
Okay, so he meets with a group every day then?
Yes.
Okay.
Question for Alex.
Yes.
Do you feel like you've made a difference and reduced the amount of bullying going on at the middle school?
Yes, we have reduced it a bit, but there is still bullying going on.
So what's your plan to address that? What do you do?
I'm personally thinking try to get more people, because the 8th grade group is like what, 8? 8th grade's like 8 or 9 people.
6th grade, like 60.
Yeah.
So maybe how to get more people involved should be an answer.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly how many is in 7th.
There's quite a few, we have 2 groups.
Yeah.
6ers, like 60
Anything else? Gentlemen, thank you very much. Is there anything else for me? That's what I had to share. And like I said, I plan on bringing individual groups to give more extensive presentations. I just wanted to give you a little taste of some of the things we have going on with our kids at the middle school.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back real quick to 3.01, receive comments from the public. Did anybody sign up? All right. Moving back on to 4 reports and presentations. 4.01, report from the FOOPE committee. Harold Wingert.
Good evening. And what an impressive group of kids we have tonight presenting to you. First of all, I just want to give you, say thank you to allow us to make a short little report. We've got several people here representing FOOPE, get used to saying that. But anyway, why don't you stand up real quick? Those, or just wave or something back there and over here. All right, very good, and down there. But anyway, long story short, we had our first meeting last Monday night, as we said. And what we just want to tonight is kind of give a short report and break it into a couple parts, and that is tell you who was in attendance. And we had over 25 people in attendance. And what I thought was interesting is we had basically all generations represented. We had several walks of life. We had people who had kids in the district, grandkids in the district, and no kids at all. And so I thought we had a nice mix of people there. We had people who were in education, either teachers or retired teachers. And we had people who were just community members. So we also had a nice mix of that as well. We even had a couple people who were teachers in other districts but lived in Ottawa, and had a former board member, which also added. So then we kind of, I decided to report what were they there for. You know, you always wonder, why did they come, or what were they wanting? Number one, they were wanting information. I thought it was interesting how many questions were being asked of the people there wanting to seek information on various topics. I thought number two, it was interesting how many people wanted to get involved. And, you know, I had a conversation with Dennis last year. If we talk about athletics, we can fill this gymnasium. If we talk about academics, we don't need anything but the janitor's closet. And so it was interesting that we actually had people come in and want to get involved, roll up the sleeves, and get to work. The other thing that I thought was interesting is I repeatedly heard the word results. And they wanted to know, is this just another group going to get together, talk about things, and do nothing? And so I think that you got a lot of people on the board, on the group, that's really wanting to see results and make a difference. And so anyway, and then we heard when, and when's broke into 2 parts, and that is, are we really going to meet regularly? So we made a commitment to meet the third Monday night, 6:30, right through the end of the school year. And so we're dedicated to meeting every month and moving forward that way. And then, when are we going to start seeing results? And so like education, like these kids have homework tonight they need to get home to. Some of these questions, actually, some of the comments require homework. So we broke up several information gathering deals. So next meeting, we're actually going to have information coming back. I thought that was interesting that people actually volunteered to go seek information and bring it back to the group. And then, one thing I kind of said is, what motivates a person to not only attend the first meeting, but keep coming back? Obviously, they have kids in the district, they have grandkids in the district, but they're also community-minded because education does play a key role in Ottawa. And then also, I think unique is we're focused on the kids. Not that we don't want to worry about the district or, the school board or policy. Obviously, we can talk about that too, but we're focused on making a positive impact on kids. I think that's a unique spin of everything. And then lastly, I've been asked 100 times, or so it seems, is what are some of your thoughts you took away from the first meeting and since then? I thought it was interesting, my perception, because I approached the board a couple months ago about class size, and I'm thinking class size being a physical component, and things like that. It was interesting hearing the dialogue of the group. Class size kind of moved from a physical component to, well, how many are in the classes? And it's interesting, you get a group of people talking, nobody really knew for sure. So somebody's researching, what do we mean by class size? Break it down by school, break it down by classes, and let's bring back to the other actual facts. Somebody else actually said, that's just one component. You need to know, what makes up that class size. For example, if you have IEP students in there, and do you have other issues within a class size? There's more components than I got 25 kids. It's, the makeup of those 25 kids. So I thought that was an interesting discussion. And then it kind of came back to that if we're focusing on the physical component of that, that could take 3 to 5 years. And that's where the results and the win comes back is I don't think anybody really wants to see an impact 5 years from now. They want to make an impact now. And the question is, how can we support the district and the teachers and the students now, meaning in the next 12 months, 18 months, versus a long-range plan that the district may have to go through to address class size in the future. So the question, kind of started boiling around is how are ways that we can make an impact on either teachers or students that have that higher class sizes. The other thing is technology. Obviously, the district's had technology issues. And, one thing the group said is how can we get involved in helping out with technology? I kind of use the example, when you're in the middle of a crisis, you don't point fingers, you ask how and how can I help? And I think the issue is how can we as a group support the district, maybe get strategic partners involved to help the district not only through the current technology issues, but also future technology issues. And so, the idea is that don't play the blame game, and that's, you can psychoanalyze that in the future if you want to as a board. What we really want to do is how can we roll up our sleeves and address technology issues in the here and the now, because obviously that does impact the students. And then the other thing I took away from it was people really eager to get out and work. If you probably heard that we took snacks and treats. Barbara cooked all night long. She made many dozen of cookies. Haven't killed anybody. For those, might have added a pound or two back there. But anyway, it's how can we support? How can we give service? And I think if your group is a vibrant group, you got to learn how to serve. And I think our group is going to keep asking the questions, how do we serve? And then, yes, you want to know how a group is actually official. We have a T-shirt committee and we have a logo committee. And by golly, we're going to get T-shirts and we get logos, and we are now official. So with that being said, we're not here, in summary, we're not here for any gotcha moments. The committee had a few questions on technology. We're going to present that to you in writing. We don't expect any answers tonight. What we want to do is enter a dialogue over the next couple weeks. How can we be of resource helping the district out to that? Because, if you have a presenter stand up and start asking questions from the podium, it gets you into a gotcha moment, and we don't want that. What we want to do is how can we serve the district? How can we serve the students? How can we help out? And so we're going to leave you tonight with questions, and obviously, as you all know, I got your emails. So, we can email that to you too. We don't have our next meeting until the 21st, so there's no time crunch on that, but it's one of those things that we actually have some people who know something about computers. I know nothing about computers. If they don't turn on and work from the get-go, I'm lost. But anyway, if, you know, as an example is, we have 5 or 6 questions that people were asking, and what I told the group is rather than stand up in front of the board and start firing questions, I think the best way is to present our questions in writing, allow the district to respond, and then we'll publish those responses unedited. And that way, we enter into that open dialogue and that open communication. So with that being said, that concludes the deal, unless you have questions or comments.
One comment that the cookies were very good.
They deserve credit, and the OMSEDs deserve credit, and we had several people helping out on that.
Harold, thank you for the professionalism, because I think it's better to be able to make a dialogue and do it in writing. Everything's understood, and it's a very professional way to handle the communication. So thank you on that.
Very good, very good.
But it does make me nervous that Barb's sitting on the back row, so we need to get her set up front.
We can always get her to move forward in future meetings. Any other questions or comments? I'll leave this with you. Unfortunately, I do have to leave. I've got a conference call, but I'll leave this with you, and then we can enter into those discussions in the future. Thank you.
Are you going to email too, Harold?
Please do. Thank you.
All right. 4.02, OHS music trip for the Cytones. Lori Underwood.
I have handouts, teacherly way.
Thank you. Oh, no, I don't have that one.
You don't have that one?
No.
Thank you.
I have the rest.
First of all, let me thank you for allowing me to come speak with you this evening. This is an ambitious undertaking, I will say right off the top, and I'll make it short and sweet. This would normally have been a trip year for the Cytones, according to students and people that preceded my position here. And the trip that we are proposing is a trip to New York City. It's an undertaking that the students are excited about pursuing, and basically what I'm looking for is your blessing to pursue this trip. We have a lot of great fundraisers in the making. I don't want to say I pride myself, but I feel really confident in the way that I'm able to raise funds with singing groups. I sold suckers and candles for the first year I taught, and that was the last time I did it. And my husband and I love to come up with creative ways to fundraise for trips that provide services to the community, that bring the community together, that reach out into the broader region and not just draw money from the school city. And so we're excited to believe that this is something that we can handle. The trip would take place over spring break. The students wouldn't miss any school time. In fact, they would get back from our trip, if we were able to go, in time to still have spring break. So we're looking at a Friday through a Tuesday trip. There are many performance opportunities available to us on this trip. Broadway workshops, clinics. I've got several classmates that I graduated with in New York, one who formerly worked at Carnegie Hall, who is a good connection for me to be able to have a workshop or a clinic in that venue. We also obviously would take in all the historical sites and do all the interesting and entertaining things that there could be. If you look on the very back sheet, it's got a list of all the features of the trip, and I don't think they missed anything except maybe a trip to Serendipity's for frozen hot chocolate. And we might just have to scope that one out on our I have yet to be discouraged from pursuing this. Otherwise, just looking at it on my own, it does look a little daunting. And yet I've been met with a lot of support and encouragement from colleagues and from the sponsor or the trip representative from ETI, from Educational Tours Incorporated, with whom I've worked for the past 6 years. And she's very supportive, not for her benefit, but because she knows that we've tackled some pretty awesome trips in the past and have succeeded. I enjoy taking small groups on trips. This would be a group of about 24 students, plus about 6 or 8 chaperones. Parents are invited. I've worked it both ways where we've raised enough money, the students have raised enough money so their parents were able to go on the trip without putting out any money as kind of a thank you for babysitting, as it were, or chaperoning. I've also done trips where the parents have paid their own way, and so that's just always an option. There are a lot of different options and ways that we could tweak a plan like this. This is by no means anything set in stone. The representative that I work with calls me and says, what are you looking at? Well, I don't know. Toss me something on Branson. Toss me something on New York. We've done Chicago, Oklahoma City, Washington, D.C., Orlando. So it's just, this would be a new trip for me and an exciting trip for the students. We would have up until 50 days before we departed to make adjustments to the trip. If we could not come up with the amount that we targeted, we could shorten the trip. We could move it to another year. You would be getting everything back refunded except for things that were not refundable, such as a Broadway show. And in that case, you would put off, we would put off booking that show until we felt confident that it was a go. So basically, that's what I've got there for you. Do you have any questions for me? Yes?
I thought when I first read this that it was going to be by bus, and then on this now it's talking about flying. Is there either or option
Yes.
depending on money? Or?
Yes. The original option was by bus, came out to be $1,140. She added 500, or took the bus trip out, added 500 for airplane, and then found that she could get tickets on Frontier for $382. So we saved quite a bit of that 500, and it wasn't that much more than a bus trip, except it got us
The
there.
only question I would have about that is, what's the booking window on your tickets with Frontier?
Frontier, we would have to have a deposit in by next Tuesday. The company would cover that. They're really flexible with that, and the refunds would be if we could get a refund until January 16th of next year. If the trip,
2012?
yes.
So you do have a fairly significant window to get a
Yes.
refund back.
Yes.
And so what's the total amount you're probably going to have to raise to get the students and the chaperones out?
Students and chaperones, 32,000, I believe, was with the chaperones paying their way.
You're going to be humping to get that all in.
Yep.
I took the band at Wellsville to Washington, D.C. several years ago.
Mhm.
We took 18 months to raise $56,000, and that was a stretch to get there.
And normally I do take 2 years to do a trip. I came into a situation where we were coming upon a trip year, and so, I told him I would just go for the gold. But I completely understand that. It's a lot more relaxing way to earn or to save money.
Yeah.
Is over a period like that. And I will say this is a concern. It's not, you've got students that have worked hard throughout their years, and if they start raising money for a trip they're not going on, then
Yep.
that's another situation. So that was really my only issue with, gosh, I sure hope we can do this March, is I didn't want to leave out people that have worked, towards trips and,
Do they have any money? Have they done fundraising in the previous years and they've got some money on board already, or are you starting from ground zero?
I'm starting from ground zero. We've got a fundraiser coming up on Monday night. And then
You're going to be fundraising every other day.
just about. wreath fundraiser for Christmas, start in a couple weeks, and then our big band dance, which is a huge fundraiser. And I would know by probably the second week of December how things were looking, based on the wreath fundraiser and the big band dance. And the big band dance has been a huge fundraiser for me the past couple of years, so, I mean, that would be something that would tell the story right there.
What's the potential for having students pay their way? I mean,
Good on some of the kids' parts. Actually, I told the students, I said, I really don't want to make anybody fork out anything except souvenir money.
yeah.
And then I was approached by a young man after class, and he said, but what if we want to pay our way? What if we want to put money into our own account? Now, there are kids that will do that. There are parents that would do that for them. I know I've got those students, but then I also have those students that probably couldn't travel to Lawrence if they.
Right, that's
Yeah.
why I was asking
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah.
I mean, are you going to be in a position where you're 90% there and so kids are gonna have to cough at the last?
Well, I think that's the point we would say, I think we're coming home on Monday night instead of Tuesday.
Okay. And the other
And these
question,
are the
the other
adjustments.
question I have is, do you have a method in place for making sure that everybody is contributing their fair share?
Yes, I do.
Good for you.
I put in place an individual account system. My husband's a tech genius, and he's got my little Excel program, and I keep track on paper, how many hours they put in, how many things they've sold, and how much that's worth.
So you got a uniting system for them. Good for
Yep.
you.
Yep. Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
What is the purpose of this trip?
Pardon me?
Purpose?
The purpose of this trip is just to expand their horizons, to get some good contact with the outside world, to see some a Broadway show, be able to be taught by the people right there. We've got, like I said, we've got clinics, we've got workshops that we would attend. I never take a trip that doesn't include some kind of educational purpose.
How about performing? I briefly looked through this, and at one place I thought I saw something about performing.
They have a performance opportunity on the Intrepid, but there are also the performance opportunities potential performance opportunities at Carnegie Hall, Times Square, Rockefeller Center. I mean, all of those places have opportunities where you can perform.
That's schedule permitting situation.
Mm-hmm.
Then does this cover all the kids in the current program,
Yes.
the 24?
Mhm.
That would get that would be the inclusive number.
Given the fact that you're going to be really, really, really busy doing all of these things, the normal things that Cytones usually do, the competitions, I know there's 2 or 3, the trip to Texas and a competition, will you be able to do any of those?
We are doing a competition in Nevada. No, not the Carthage trip always happens on KMEA weekend, and I'm not willing to give that up. That's the Kansas Music Educators convention every year in Wichita, and that's where I rejuvenate and hone my skills. And so they won't be taking that trip this year. In fact, they'll probably do the one. We're going to Butler Community College in about 4 weeks, and working with a world-renowned choreographer there, and that'll be a nice trip for them too. But the students have agreed that they want to pull back on the competition aspect this year so that we could possibly do something like this. But they'll be doing all their runouts and normal concerts and things like that.
Didn't they take a trip to Texas they've taken a trip to Texas in the past? Was it after school was out, or was it in spring break? When was it?
It's during school.
Was it during school, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they missed a day or 2 of school, and so
Okay.
weekend.
Well,
Yeah, they went to Dallas.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out if there was a way to lengthen the time that they would have to fundraise for things like that. Do it after school.
And there's no trip to Texas in the works.
Okay.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for kids to experience something outside of the city of Ottawa, and it gives them a chance to see what the outside world is like. And I know it can be impactful. And again, if you're looking at a time frame, you've got your system set up to where everybody contributes. I let everybody have a chance.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those kind of deals where I know that the wall you're getting ready to climb, so.
Yeah.
If you're brave enough to climb it, go for it, in my opinion.
Thank you. Well, I have words from my trip director, and she's just really encouraging, you know. She's, I know absolutely without a doubt that you'd be able to do this trip, and she knows just from working with me that I love what I do, I'm passionate about what I do, and I want the best for my kids, and so I'm not going to set them up for failure.
And did the media leave? I was going to say, this would be a great time for a human interest story if somebody had some extra dollars during the holiday season to give as a generosity and a gift to the wonderful Ottawa Cytones. It'd be a beautiful time to do that, but
She's gone.
she's gone.
And when will you come back and give us an update, I guess, on where you are? You said after December, I mean, like
Well,
1st of January?
I don't have a problem with keeping you up to date at, you know, just
As you
future
go.
recent, as we go along. When is your next meeting?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, 2 weeks.
Even
We're
an email
every
would be
2 weeks.
fun. You could have
Just
fun
shoot us
with
an
it.
email.
We're right in the middle of musical is what I'm saying.
Shoot
So
us
we'll,
an email.
maybe when we get done with our, yeah, I could
Yeah.
shoot you an email, or as soon as we
Right.
get done with
Yeah.
musical, then I'll be glad to come back and,
Yeah, shoot us an email, keep us posted,
Okay.
and then maybe come back and talk to us in person
okay,
December, January.
absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Have you dialogued with our activities director? Mr.
Yes, I
Rath?
have. He was the first one that I talked to, and he said, go to the board. So, you're right.
Do we need to vote?
Do we need a vote?
It's not for action.
vote, she gives a blessing to proceed.
It's a nice schedule, by the way.
I'm for it.
Yes, that one.
You
Do
guys
you want to
for
go?
it?
Isn't it wonderful?
Do the fundraising. and
PTI
then
does a
we'll,
good job, don't
go
they?
ahead
Oh,
with
they're,
the
I
meeting.
love 'em.
Back to
I love
do
'em.
a
Okay.
official
And make sure you note on there,
presentation, then we'll vote.
on the itinerary, that we have nighttime security, and they are wonderful. It means that all the chaperones get to actually sleep. There is a full-time nighttime security guard that will sit at the end of the hall from 10:30 at night until 5:30 in the morning. In the morning, I get a full printout of so-and-so looked out of his room at 2:03 and went back in. So-and-so looked out of his room at 4 and went back in. And then I just, have to have a one-on-one with that child saying, go to bed.
Now,
But
The only other
it's
question I've
perfect.
got for you is, how do you handle the constant ringing phones?
What phones?
Good for you.
And if you get them up early to go to the Today Show, let us know so we can watch you on TV.
Yes, absolutely. We'll have our Ottawa signs and, yeah. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
4.03, adult education.
Oh, Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know what I picked up last week, but I picked up something, so we're going to give this a try. Thank you for letting me come before you again. I believe it's been about a year and a half since we last spoke regarding adult education. This is what I've handed you is basically a summary of what we have done as a program over the last 5 fiscal years. Before we get started with that, I just want to explain to you what a typical adult education student looks like. These are folks that have made mistakes in their lifetime, for better, for worse. The average age of our student over here is in the neighborhood of about 22 years of age. Some of them are single mothers. By and large, they have given up on things and decided that they wanted to come back and give their high school education a try again. And that's what we're there for. What do? We work with them to help them complete their high school education, and when they do that, they pass by passing the GED test. And in the state of Kansas, they earn a Kansas State high school diploma. We also work with transitioning skills, so if they've already completed high school, either through the traditional high school or through our program, then we work on helping them go into employment and or post-secondary education. So whatever those skills are that they need, whatever they come to us with, that's what we do. And one of the things that we started about 3 years ago is we started working with the senior citizens of our area. And we started offering senior citizen computer classes, which has just been a riot because there's a lot of senior citizens out there that don't know how to use computers, and they want to be able to communicate to their kids and their grandkids. So it's just one of the things that we've started doing in the last 3 years, and it's been very successful. If you go across here, and you can see on the chart report here that I've given you, we have almost doubled the number of people that we've served from fiscal year 7 through fiscal year 11. And we're on a pretty good roll so far in fiscal year 12. What this next line means, percentage of lower level learners. There are 6 levels in adult education. So if you take each level, 1 through 6, and you assign it 2 grade levels, the equivalent in the traditional school. So like a level 1 student would be equivalent of 1st, 2nd grade functioning. Now, most of our students can read and write, for the most part. Where they struggle is with the math. So wherever their lowest level is, that's where they get leveled as far as their educational functioning level. You can see, back in 2007, when I started working with the Ottawa district, we did not use writing as an assessment over here. So what you see in fiscal year 7 is just representative of the reading and the math scores. Through the years, we've used all 3 assessments, and you can see that the number of the people that we're working with at the lower levels, which is level 1 and level 2, has risen significantly. And I think that's just, they're really struggling with their math skills. And if you look down at the very bottom line, you can see where we've gone from average hour participant in fiscal year 7 from 77 average hours to 109. So it's taken us longer to get them through because their skills are lower. Then if you look, which is kind of different, but then if you look at the 3rd line down, educational gains from pre-test to post-test. When they come into our program, we pre-test them. So we give them the assessments in reading, writing, and math. And then by the end of the program, we post-test them. What the state of Kansas says is to be considered a quality program in the state of Kansas, your program should be functioning at 65% educational gains. You can see that we have progressively gone up, and Ottawa Adult Ed is one of the top performing programs in the state. Our consortium, Paola, Osawatomie, and Ottawa, hold the top 3 positions. And then below that are the core outcomes. Excuse me. These are the ones that we get funded on. So we get funded on outcomes, we get funded on quality points, which is basically, are we a good program? And then they assign a dollar amount to each point. So you can see, sorry, you can see that the numbers have gone up considerably with the educational gains and with the folks entering post-secondary education. So we've worked really hard with Neosho County through the years, and we started working with Ottawa University as well. You can see those numbers. GEDs, those are just kind of, they're holding strong. They're fairly consistent, but it stands to reason because our students, they're struggling longer in the program. It's taking us longer to help them get through the process. Work-ready credential, that was introduced a few years ago. And in fiscal year 10 is when we first started using that over here. And basically, it's an employability test. So they're tested in applied mathematics, locating for information, and reading for information. So if there's an employer out there, which the Kansas Department of Commerce has been working with employers in the area, in the different counties throughout Kansas, and they're saying these employees or future employees need these skills in order to be successful in this particular job. So if they come into our program and they complete this assessment, they can earn anywhere from a bronze level certificate all the way up to a platinum level certificate. And it basically shows the employers, hey, I've got the skills that it takes in order to do this job. And that's one of the things. Quite a few, well, 36 folks earned that work-ready credential last year. And I don't have those numbers on yet for most of that stuff through fiscal year 12 yet. But I can certainly report back to you after the first of the year. That's what we look like in terms of numbers, in terms of demographics. What have we done here over the last 6 months? That's the second sheet of paper that I've handed you. We've accepted some retirements and we've shifted some personnel around. We've also brought over, I'm over here at least 1 day a week now, 1 full day a week. A lot of times over the last month and a half, it's actually been 2 days over here. And then I have a coordinator coming out of our Osawatomie program. She comes over on Tuesday afternoons and works with the staff, the instructional staff. And then we also brought over a third person that has been helping with the fee-for-service program, which is a program through SRS. And basically what that does is allows folks that are caught up in the SRS system or voc rehab that are trying to get better skills to find different employment because they can't currently do the job that they're doing or they were doing. We help them with computer technology and office preparation type skills. We have revised our class schedule so that we can offer class more often. I've already talked with you about what Carissa and I are doing. I've had several really good meetings with Ottawa University, and we've got a tour set up for, what is it, Chuck? I think it's November 1st. Tour set up where we're actually going to take our students to Ottawa University. And we have been talking with Ottawa because basically with their faith-based program that they have, our students are the ones that need somebody to take them by the hand and help them show their way in life. And so what we have been doing is that we've been working really hard with Ottawa as well as Neosho. And but what is unique to Ottawa University is that GED test results equates to scholarship dollars. So if they have a certain score on the GED test, they can earn a partial scholarship through Ottawa University, which has really been good. With Neosho County, we have been working on revising the college orientation class. That's the first step into the door. And what we've talked about with Neosho is instead of offering classes that are 6 or 8 weeks long, because it's too long of a time period for our type of student, to get that reduced to, I'm not talking about, it still has to be 15 clock hours. What I'm talking about is instead of meeting 1 day a week for 8 weeks, for 2 hours a day, make that 1 week and 5 days, and let's figure out how to get it in so that our students are spontaneous. And if they figure out that they can do this and folks show them how to get the financial aid and all that, they're more successful with entering post-secondary education. We are working on career pathways, which is a mandate from the federal government by the year 2020. What they have said is there's not going to be enough workers out there to fill all of the jobs in the healthcare and the manufacturing industry. And so what they're
I'm not sure
looking.
with Obamacare, we're gonna have jobs, so that's a whole other story.
I'm not commenting on that one. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get adult education facilities and community colleges to work together to plan short-term certificate-type programs that will fill the needs of the high-pay, high-demand jobs. And that's what we've been working on, specifically with the healthcare field and with manufacturing. We have recently rejoined the Ottawa Chamber of Commerce, and Chuck is our administrative assistant. He's been going to some of the functions, and so have I. We've secured a list of the larger employees, and I plan to do some presenting to some of those folks regarding that Kansas Work Ready credential. And we have been out in the community collaborating, trying to find new folks to serve on our advisory board and to revive that a little bit. So Mr. Catt and I have been working, have been in discussions regarding what are some of our current needs at this point in time. We have outgrown our current facility, and that's the bottom line. And I think that he forwarded on a document that I had emailed him earlier. We need to relocate. And one of the first things that we do come next fiscal year is to funding permitting. And if the funding doesn't do it, then I'm going to pull another full-time teacher over here because we have to have another full-time teacher that can handle the workload. So that's what I have, and I guess I'm just asking for your support as we move forward in our endeavors. Do you have any questions?
Karen, I think, you know, in our discussions there, really the determining factor as far as relocating is going to all do with budget and how that's going to fit. And I know right now we're tight, but that's going to be something that needs to be figured out before
Right.
You know, any of that can happen. But
And I've had a conversation with the state director at the Kansas Board of Regents for Adult Education. And there are, from time to time, there are opportunities that are afforded to different programs based on need. And it's discretionary funds. And I have talked with Dr. Susan Fish regarding possibly applying for some of the discretionary funds that would help make this move possible for us. If not, we're going to continue to move forward, and so I'll sit down with Mr. Catt and Terry, and we'll see what we can come up with. But
Just so, because I'm trying to remember, which facility are you guys in? Are you in the old school board office?
we are right next to the old,
Real old school, the original school.
the original school board. We're in the Masons building.
You're in the Masons building.
Right. And we have done, since I've been affiliated with this program, since basically the summer of 2006, we have taken a facility that had one classroom, and we made 3 classrooms out of it. And there's 2 office areas, which we have to keep those because we house, in the back office area, we house Heartland Works representative comes down twice a month down here to meet with different clients. So we said that a lot of their clients are our clients. So we said that we would keep them within the facility as well. So
About moving upstairs in the Masons building, there's several offices up there that could be.
we have to be handicap accessible.
They have a wheelchair lift.
Do they?
On your participants, are these Ottawa numbers only or the whole program?
No, these are just Ottawa numbers.
And then on the funding items, some of this is, you said was state and some is federal. What's the breakdown? Because looking at the numbers that you shared, we're looking at doubling the rent at some, plus I think utilities are included in the current location. I guess I'd like to see what the actual finances look like if we have to do we give approval for the room change, or is it the vote by all 3 consortium members? for the adult ed.
No, it would be this board. The others don't make those decisions, you know, for Ottawa, and we don't for them, so.
But then how do we commingle our dollars? I guess that's my question.
What takes place is, from the federal and the state level, what happens with the funds is they come into, we were 3 separate programs
Right.
up until fiscal year 11, and then we formed the consortium.
Right.
Okay, so what happens is those funds come into Paola, and then they go right back out to the districts. So each of the 3 districts, Paola, Osawatomie, and Ottawa, each district has their own separate budget.
And it's based on numbers of students?
It's based on numbers of students, it's based on performance.
Now, do the other 2 consortiums have the mill levy like we do?
The other 2 players in our consortium, no. What takes place I'll speak for the Paola district first. Paola affords our program in Paola a cash match. So we get a cash match instead of a mill levy dollar. In Osawatomie, they do give us a small amount of cash matches. That's a very small program. And then they give us the building, the utilities, the custodian, so it's an in-kind match.
That would help if we could kind of see that, because
And I
again,
think-
this goes back to my hospital administration and
or when is it,
allocated.
2 weeks?
November 8th, we have another meeting. What we've been doing is the
I'd
3...
like to see the detail.
Right. The 3 superintendents get together with me, and I would have had that for you for this meeting, but we've had some cancellations. Those guys are busy, busy people. I thought I was busy.
The last 3
but-
Mondays we've had to cancel, but we have it on the calendar again.
Yeah.
so.
Because I do think when I look at these numbers, I think we were around 900, is that right, Dean?
Rent,
Yeah,
currently, yeah.
about 900. Because I guess from a sustainability, because I'd like to see where the federal dollars come and the state, because again, all those are with strings. And it's nice to hear that we're going to have all these new healthcare jobs coming. But just today, I've received a new notice that there's 25 states that's going to limit Medicaid utilization, which means even if you're only getting paid this much, you're still going to have to care for individuals. And there's no free lunch. So, because one of these properties is $2,800 with probably utilities, and I think we need to look at sustainability.
So let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying then. You want to see how the federal and the state dollars come down into the budget?
Well, and again, because you're the director for all 3 locations.
Mhm.
And in hospitals, I'm an administrator of 10 different locations. So my salary gets broken out and allocated.
Right.
So I'd kind of like to see that. This is nice, but it doesn't I like to see the revenue stream, especially with our current administration at the state level, to kind of see where we're at in the long run.
Well, and not only that, but what would if we were to choose a different location, how will the leasing and the utilities impact on the funding that the program is currently at? I mean, are we gonna have to?
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, budget-wise, looking at what we have budgeted, it doesn't fit. I mean, and that's the big question. I mean,
Yeah.
how is that gonna fit, or what changes, or how's all that gonna play out? I don't have.
And if we
an
get,
answer,
if we get the 2,800 a month building, then how does that impact how many adults?
How many more adults can we serve?
Right, and what is the break even, and what is the, how does
You
that
wanna
all
see the
play
return on
together?
investment.
Yeah, I wanna see the
Correct.
return on investment, I guess.
And that is a very good question. That's exactly what the state director asked as well. And at a minimum, we could serve potentially another 50 to 70 students a year just by having more space. Right now, we're out of space. So when I've got a classroom that can only seat about 10 people comfortably, and I've got 20 people on the list, okay, where do I put them?
Right, and I don't disagree with that, because I've been in that building and I've seen, and there's no privacy. When you're coming in to register a student and things like that, there's no privacy in which to do that and keep any anonymity whatsoever. So, I mean, you're definitely in a tough spot and definitely a growing need spot. But we just have to figure out how to fiscally do that responsibly.
Be fiscally
Could
responsible.
we
with all
co-op and repurpose other buildings and spaces that we have if we have a large class? I don't know that question, so that might be something. How do we use the facilities that we have available to us to expand without adding new space?
Well, the 2 offices upstairs in the Mason building are empty, 2 or 3.
Actually, almost all of them are.
Well, I
looked-
think
when
that's
I really
just-
looked over there, and there are several, in fact, I think it's office number 3. That is a large space about the size of that conference room that we occasionally use. that would be, if nothing else, a good classroom space.
So you looked at that when you were investigating
Yeah.
space? Okay.
And so I think you might want to go upstairs and take a look.
Okay.
Because there may be some opportunities for you for, if nothing else, classroom space that you could repurpose some of those offices at a lesser cost than some of this.
And if we grow, then we can make an investment later.
Right.
Okay.
How many nights or days a week do you have classes now?
Currently, our schedule, Monday through Thursday, is 8 to noon, and that's the day program. And right now, we have 2 separate classrooms to serve those day kids. But, and that's just because I have 2 teachers that can help with that. So there, we have the 8 to noon, Monday through Thursday. And then we had to scale back on the evenings just to 2 nights a week. So those are Wednesday, Thursday evenings from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. But then we went back and we added an afternoon session that meets 2 afternoons a week from 12:30 to 4:30. Did I get that right? Yep.
Who determines the charge for the testing and all of that? Is it the state?
The state of Kansas determines the fees. It goes through the Board of Regents, and they determine the fees for GED testing. And those recently went up because the scoring service that scores the tests took it up considerably. They went from charging us $5 a test just to scan it through a machine, and now it's $15 a test. So, and that happened within a 30-day period. So the Board of Regents said, we've got to collect more for you to be cost efficient with that.
Are there any local, I'm not worried about Paola Rosewater, but are there any local scholarships?
At this point in time, we do not have any source for scholarships. What we have been doing as a consortium is we have been doing some fundraising, and that's, I was surprised with the gal that was from the high school, right? And she was talking about raising $36,000 or $35,000 to make the trip in March. We've been doing some fundraising. I can guarantee you we will not get to, we won't be able to fundraise that much.
You don't have a bunch of singers getting out there and entertaining people.
Right.
And that's where the difference comes for them, is that they have that tool in their arsenal.
Right.
And you might be able to co-opt them and get them to help you.
Well, and
Not before March.
Not before March.
Not before March, that's right. And, you know, these folks that come through our doors now I'm separating the senior folks from that because they're there to learn the technology piece, you know. But the folks that come through our doors that want to go back to school, they've made those mistakes and they've learned the lessons. And we still deal with that younger population that, oh my goodness, it's very hard to get them just to focus. So finding folks that scholarship, it's pretty difficult, but we're working on it. So.
Well, I know we're turning away in the evening classes. I know we're turning a lot of people away because it's only 2 nights. And the scholarship thing, you know, I've tutored, 5 years, 6 years. I don't know how long I tutored over there. And when they have a bad experience and then now we can go back, but I don't have the money to go back, and so then we lose that. We lose those. They don't even knock on your door. They're done before they knock on your door. But if there was a way that we could do scholarships, and I personally have paid for testing.
I know you have.
And if we could somehow get other groups in the town to help, I don't think they know there's a need. And so I think we need that out.
Part of it is that I understand what you're saying. This quarter, our October quarter, that our classes started, whatever it was, that first week of October, 5th or 6th, whatever that Wednesday night was, we had 18 people in our night class with 1 teacher. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot as compared to some of the enrollments in, you know, the grade schools and middle schools, but 18 folks in an adult education class when they're at anywhere from 1st grade level to 12th grade level is huge. I don't know that if they are ready for the test, we will find the money. Or what Paola will do is Paola will just not charge for that individual if they're ready for the test. Because we do have a pool of money that we have set aside in Paola for that. I don't think the issue is the money piece of it for GD testing. I think the issue is getting them ready for it. And when we are dealing with lower functioning students, it takes us longer. So what takes place is if we start with a group of people in July, we may have, if we got a dozen in that group, we still may have 6 or 8 of them come May, because we can't undo what's been done over that period of time that quickly. So, and yes, we need volunteers. We're not going to turn them away. Could we have 2 night classes over here? Absolutely. We have the need for it. We don't have the staff for it. So.
Good information, really appreciate it.
Okay.
Good FOOPE project.
Yeah.
What's that?
Say
Sounds like a good
FOOPE on it.
Thank you.
All right, 4.05, board reports. Does anybody have a board report?
I got something. Oops, I'm throwing my stuff here. Okay, good. One of the things that, as a new insurance agent, that we were able to, that we did, is the existing farmer's agent and myself, October is Fire Safety Month, and our company, Farmers Insurance, is big on promoting fire safety. So we have, Dave Testorf and I have put together a coloring program or coloring contest for the elementary schools, and we're going to, that's going to run till the 28th of this month, and then we're going to give out some small awards for those students that win the coloring contest. The other thing that we're going to do is, in light of the case up in Kansas City that everybody seems to be watching, is Farmers puts out a child identification kit, and I'm going to pass this around for you. And we're going to supply one of those to every student in the elementary schools. So that's just going to be a matter of, we'll get them to the schools and hand them out. We thought that would be a good opportunity for parents. Since it's kind of been in the news a bunch, it might help remember, hey, I need to get this information on my kid. And so we're going to supply those to each school for them to hand out.
Is that different than the identic kit that the sheriff's department does?
It is similar. The difference is this is the old-fashioned, you do it yourself fingerprint kit. And say what?
Say a command.
Say it. What? Who said? Oh, it was a phone. Okay. Command. Okay, gotcha. But anyway, this is a more manual version. Basically, it's a way for people to, if they don't have time to go down to the sheriff's department, to get it done, so they've got the information.
The Masons also have that service.
Yeah, there are several services out there, and quite frankly, having been in a situation where I had one of my special needs child disappear on us one night, being able to put your hands on that information quickly, if you've got it in more than one place, that's a good thing.
Yep.
So if you've got it in more than one time, or stored in more than one place, good for you. And if we can make another opportunity for parents to be able to do that, that's something we want to do.
Thank you.
I have one.
Okay.
Eugene Field Site Council met October 11th, and they are working on some ideas to reduce traffic, and I have a picture. This is just the very beginning, and they're talking to Richard, and they're talking to Dean about what they can do. I'll pass this around. They're talking about a circle drive in front of Eugene Field School, and they're talking about some other things. Inside the school, if you've been there, you come in the north back door, basically. And the school faces Tremont, but no one comes in Tremont. They come in the back. And they can, people, even with the cameras, 2 people could be coming in at the same time. And one could go up the stairs while the other one comes into the office, you know, make a scene or something, and that one slips up. And so what they are wanting to do is, there is used to be a classroom, now several offices. On that north end, they want to move the office over there with the nurse's office, secretary's office, and the principal's office. And eventually, maybe not now, but eventually make a window in that cement wall, so people sitting in the office can see people going and where they're going when they, you know, they might be busy doing something, but at least they can have a visual thing. So they're just working on ideas and things like that. They went out and looked where all the cameras is gonna be. They were pretty excited about that. They are looking at a sign. If you picture at Maple and the entrance to the school, which is kind of down through where the modular is, instead of in front of the school down Fremont, no one goes down Fremont unless you're picking up a kid down there. And so they want it more visible out on 7th Street in Maple. And they have a very active site council this year as opposed to other times that I've served anyway. They want to put some shrubs around the flag. There's a big hole where I understand they have to replace some water lines, and they're waiting for that. But they want some shrubs out there around the flagpole. They also challenged this one scout group meets there, and so the scouts, I kind of have an inside on that one. So the scouts are going to plant the shrubs. They have an inside to get the shrubs, so it's probably not going to cost the district anything. But they're working, it's amazing the little things that they're doing to get everything done. So it'll be, as soon as that water line gets fixed, they'll probably start going, unless it's too frozen, and then they'll do it in spring. But very active group. School has started, they thought very well with the new principal there.
Good.
Everyone
So
seemed very
how many's
happy.
in the site council membership better? I mean, in the past, it's dwindled quite a bit, so it's a
It,
little.
I think it was about 8 or 10.
Okay.
Some people came early and left, and, it's kind of going to meetings and work and all that kind of stuff. But,
Good.
so I thought, I was really happy to see it growing.
I went to the Garfield Site Council on October the 13th. It was the first site council meeting for this year. And again, it's the same thing, brand new principal who was new to the district. And so looks like it's going really well. I was very impressed with her and her organization of the meeting. We didn't have a huge turnout for the first meeting. There were some people who couldn't make it, but we did have a handful. We talked about MTSS because they're implementing it this year. They're also, of course, implementing the new reading program, reading adoption, and then also they had the computers, all that technology. So difficult start to the year, but things are going really well now. They talked about traffic flow. They changed the drop-off and pickup procedures at Garfield. Of course, there was a big influx of students with the increase in student class size. So just trying to get that all straightened out and trying to work through the kinks. But overall, it was a really good first meeting, and we're going to meet every other month with that site council, and I was really impressed with it, and looks like they're heading in the right direction. They're excited about the MTSS and what they think it can do. And the new reading program seems to be going well too. People, I guess the teachers are trying to buy into it, and it sounds like it's going really well. So it was a good meeting. Anybody else have a board report?
I got one more thing just to add. I didn't get a chance to go to the Lincoln Site Council meeting, but I do know that in their discussions, one of the things they're looking at is that Watchdogs program, which is basically getting dads into the building on a regular basis. I don't have a lot of details on that yet. As soon as I
Wellsville
get,
does that. My
yeah,
brother's
and
a part of
and
that
so
in
does
Wellsville.
Paola.
Okay.
So I'm kind of excited about that, and look forward to see what they come up with there.
All right. If no one else has any other board reports, we'll move on to 4.06, and that's the superintendent report.
Just a real quick look at the budget projections. These numbers indicate what we turned in on the superintendent's report based on the September 20th numbers. And you can see that in it's not up there yet, I guess, but where it has enrollment history. Oh, wait. Well, I'll go to something else. But our total FTE, we are about $15,500 higher than what we had published. And a lot of that, or most of that, is in the different weightings that we have. We had not a big increase, but almost 9 in transportation. ed, we had about 11.7 increase. The total FTE, we're actually using last year's numbers for that. That's about 20 less than what we projected, 23 less than what we projected. The big change is in special ed, and that's 114 FTE higher than what we had last year. And if you remember at the end of the year, last year, through all the state finance things, the state didn't make maintenance of effort. So the state had to put more dollars into special ed or lose all this federal money. So they put it in special ed, and that's the, I say, windfall of what they did. And in our case, it's about 114 extra students that we get paid for, but it's in the special ed budget. So that's the big difference. The weighted FTE is 3,796, and again, that's, I'm sorry, the total FTE is 141, special ed's 118 higher, and FTE enrollment this year is 408, last year, or 2,408, last year it was 2,420. So we're still, you know, $15,000 up, depending on the audit, the state audit. So, you know, we hit our estimate. Usually we try to estimate high so you don't have to republish. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. There's always something that'll change when they come in and do the audit. But just on the state finance front then, several of you attended the conference in Topeka, and they had a representative from the governor talk about possible changes in the finance formula. Right now, there's really not a lot of discussion with Dale Dennis or anybody in the State Department as far as estimates, how that would affect our budget or anybody else. So right now, everybody's just kind of in the wait and see mode. There's been several articles from Lawrence to Blue Valley and how some of these things would possibly work, but there's nothing in writing. It's all just, these are some possibilities. So really, we don't have a whole lot to go on yet. They did say, which is good, they wouldn't touch special ed funding, and there's a good possibility if they went with the Oklahoma model that they would, that may actually increase the vocational funding. Everything else, they would drop the weightings other than those two programs, and then rely on a sales tax that the county commissioners, the way I understand it, and this may not be, but this is what I came away with, county commissioners would have to vote for Franklin County to participate in that, and it would include all 4 school districts. And if we did that, then we would be in the pool of other districts that would benefit then from Johnson County and some of the other counties that obviously raise a lot more in sales tax than Franklin County.
That poses an interesting situation for Wellsville. They've got Johnson, Franklin, and Miami, all three.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of questions whether Johnson County would do that, you know, raise the sales tax. They'd be able to keep a portion of that, but then send the rest to the other districts. There's so many questions, really no one knows for sure, but I know it'll be discussed. I don't think it'll happen for next year. I think it'd be a year after if they make a change at all, but I think it's a given something's going to change. We just don't know what. So it's kind of wait and see right now.
But I do, Dean, think there's a huge difficulty coming down the pike to have in the state of Kansas appropriately funded education per student across the state. The sales tax concept is going to quickly divide the communities between the urban with-have districts with the districts without. Because 1% in Woodson County isn't even close to matching Johnson County. And if we look at our economic trade patterns, most of us shop in Johnson counties for clothing and other items. And I think this is going to be a battle because after my conversations with the Blue Valley Board, the Olathe Board, and Shawnee Mission folks, they're very upset that they think they have to share the wealth imbalance. And I think we're at a time with the current legislators that if we hear from the governor he wants to go to a two-legged stool to finance state government, a property tax and sales tax and maybe do away with income, that's a huge budget gap to fill. And it is very nerve-wracking to think that they're going to take this formula and go to a 5-component formula and try to make it equal across the state.
Yeah, that's a huge question on how do you, if they do eliminate or reduce income tax, how do they make those dollars up? And I know they're talking sales tax right now and put it off on local government, school districts, counties, cities, I'm sure, to raise their local taxes to make up that difference too. But
It may not be as bad a deal if they take a state sales tax and distribute it equally.
That's
But
not
the
what
problem
Johnson
with
County
that
wants.
is it's by county by county.
That's the problem with it.
And as we've got, your point was well taken, that you've got a district that's bordering, okay, we pass it in Franklin, but they don't pass it in Anderson.
Or Miami.
Or Miami. And so then you've got an issue of how do you distribute the funds back, because then you've got kids that are technically in another county that is going to the district, they're only part of the district area.
Yeah.
And so I look at this as really the push to go, and Dean, I don't mean to pick on superintendents, but I really see this as a way that they're gonna force counties like Osage, Coffee, now Woodson's already one county, but Iola, and even us in Franklin, to go to a different model because of the info.
Countywide school district.
Countywide school district. And I think that's where this is really pushing it, because the governor will be able to say, I'm not telling you consolidate, but the numbers are gonna speak for themselves by the way they set the new formula up. And I see this coming as part of the process.
yeah, could be. So, as we get information, we'll pass that on, but right now, we're still kind of just waiting to see. The next item, the good news on Standard of Excellence Awards. Kim, if you pull that up, you can see Garfield Elementary had 3rd grade reading, 5th grade reading, building-wide reading, 3rd grade math, 5th grade math, and building-wide math. Lincoln Elementary, 5th grade reading, building-wide reading, 3rd grade math, 4th grade math, 5th grade math, and building-wide math. The middle school, 7th grade reading, 7th grade science, 7th grade math, 8th grade math. The high school was 11th grade reading and building-wide reading. So again, we're on improvement. We're still making gains. We're doing a very good job in a lot of these areas, and I think these numbers are going to continue to grow. The more we get MTSS implemented and some of the other initiatives we started, are just going to see these things even go higher. So, but good news, we will get banners for each one of these schools that they will hang every year. We do that with the standard of excellences that they had met. So they did a wonderful job. I'm real proud of them. The KASB convention, I think you guys probably received information, or I know I had sent some things out. December 2nd through the 4th in Overland Park. In just a little bit, we need to appoint a delegate for the General Assembly, and then assign alternates, and I think usually we put everyone down as an alternate. But what I need you to do is go through that information and let me know when you're going to attend. I know there's activities on Friday. Right now, I don't plan on going Friday, but I may change by the time we get there. But if anybody's interested in Friday, let me know. And then Saturday and Sunday, obviously, are the other 2 days. But let Teresa or I know, and we'll get everyone registered for what you want to participate in. There's several different options and things, and we'll get that registration sent in. We'll make travel arrangements. I mean, usually we just meet at the middle school or here, and I'll drive to Overland Park and come back then whenever. So just be thinking of that and let me know as soon as you do decide on what you can attend. Another good news item here is the Cyclone girls won the sub-state volleyball Saturday, and will be in Salina Friday participating in the state tournament, and hopefully they'll be there Saturday. They're in pool play Friday afternoon, and then Saturday, if they come out of the pool and play, who's in their pool here? St. James, Cheney and Chanute in Ottawa, so we'll see. You all have, it's in this envelope, you all have the invitation to the legislative dinner for the city, county. We get together and host this every year. The date is November 29th. It's going to be held at Neosho County. Let me know ASAP if you plan on attending that. And I imagine what we'll do is similar to last year. I thought that worked well, where everybody kind of prepared a statement and presented that to the legislators. They all get an opportunity to talk, obviously. And I'll meet this week with the county superintendents, and they're usually invited. And we'll come up with a statement from everyone, so we don't have 20 people, getting up and saying the same things. But again, let me know if you plan on attending that. I hope you can. It's a good event, and all the legislators are usually there. So that's it for my report, Brandon.
All right. Moving on to 5, policies, contracts, bids, estimates, etc. 5.01, we need to appoint a delegate for the General Assembly for the KASB convention.
In years past, we've done the board president's been the governmental relations person. Are you going to be able to attend, Brandon?
Yeah, I'll be there on Saturday for sure. Not Sunday, but I will be on Saturday and maybe Friday. I don't know. Saturday's
I would move to
Assembly.
appoint Brandon as our delegate.
Second.
Been moved by Dennis, seconded by David to appoint me as the delegate. Any discussion? Not all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
And then alternates, do we want to just put everyone down as an alternate, and then if anybody wants to attend, they can? I mean, that session, usually there's some pretty good other things going on at that time.
And will
but,
you guys all tell me what we're voting on before?
we will, yeah, they'll send
Okay.
you all the information on what they'll be voting on, and I should get it.
Okay.
We'll send that out, and then we'll meet before December 3rd.
Because we got to hear from the 2 president candidates by video at the the thing we just went to last week or 2 weeks ago, so.
I guess I'd like to talk about it so the board can think about this ahead of time. The difficulty I have is both candidates I know, and they're very excellent individuals. However, I think it's a bad precedent to have the past president and the president-elect from the same school district. So I would highly suggest that if we do cast a vote, it would be for Barb Fuller, because there's nothing in the KSB Constitution. But I think it's a little difficult to have 2 leaders for KSB from the same district at the same period of time. And
That's a good point.
and
And they're good candidates.
Yeah.
There's not, but representing the same district, I think, is.
Because then you would have one district basically control the leadership role of KSB for
2 or 3 years.
2 more years after this one, so that's 5 years in total. So that would be my personal opinion. But Brandon, if you get lobbied by the pack of Frank, that'd be okay too.
I like Frank, and I know work with him through my
Yeah,
job too.
they're
but
both
yeah,
good people. It's
I
just
don't know
the
the other
issue.
one, her thing on her video was good. I like what you had to say.
Yeah, Frank, he'd be
Yeah,
good.
but I agree with you, both from the Seaman School District.
Right.
So, all right. 5.02, approval of the everyday math upgrade.
I make a motion, we
Do you-
accept
I think
the
they're gonna-
math upgrade. We don't have to.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I want to
Well,
hear
you've
him say
been
it.
here setting very,
We want to hear him say something.
come on up, Riley, come on up.
Good deal. I don't see how we
You have a
could go
logo
wrong.
too?
No, we are working on the logo.
Did you start just at the beginning of the meeting?
Well, I was jealous when Harold got up. My name is Briley Rivers. I teach the 4-year-old at-risk preschool at Lincoln, and we are part of a committee that met to kind of go over a proposed incentive, I guess, from Everyday Math to align our current curriculum with the Common Core standards next year. And basically what this is, I know Mrs. Fanning spoke with you guys last time. The pamphlet, I like it. It's much more colorful. The pictures, there's a zebra, you can see. Basically everything in the pamphlet with the little star that says new or updated would be what we would be receiving next year. And that is pre-K through 6th grade. This is just an example, the 1st through 3rd grades. The white page that's the proposal gives you the breakdown. and basically, we, as a district, are going to pay the amount to receive just the workbooks for next year as a part of the curriculum. If we pay the amount that's listed over that, we receive all of the upgrades, which total about $61,000. Again, that everything in this that is listed with that little star is what we receive for that. And so with those workbooks, just one of the things we'll receive is the teacher's manuals to go with those student books that are aligned to Common Core. So essentially, we're going to either pay to just get the workbooks, and that cost is in there, I believe. And maybe it's not in there. It's about $30,000, or we could pay the $51,000 and receive the additional $61,000 worth of materials and teachers' resources, that kind of thing. Oh, the technology piece. There's a 6-year license to use their technology, and it's web-based and things. So,
Good job.
Questions for us?
It's a great deal in my book.
I know, me too.
And we got very positive feedback from every school. Our committee was represented by each school's, Garfield and Lincoln, and we had people from every school, and they went back and presented to their staff to get questions or concerns. And I don't think we heard any negative responses. It was very overwhelmingly
It was presented at
great.
CAC, or Curriculum Council, the other day too, and same thing.
And everyone's happy with the everyday math? The teachers are happy with it for right now?
I think overall consensus is yes, but I think there's a minority that definitely want to reassess the program in a couple of years when some other companies come out with something that maybe is just as strong for Common Core.
Like it said in the memo, this is not a formal adoption. This is
Right.
just an update, right? So.
This is an update to the existing adoption.
Because if you are going to look at it in 3 years, it's good to shop, but I look at a $20,000 investment to get everything you're getting is a heck of a program.
Right.
And get a good return on investment.
kind of
As
a
Susan says, what kind of return we're getting, this is a frugal and big return.
Yeah, this is a 3-for-1 offer, kind of.
Yeah. So did you make that motion?
I did.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved by Susan, seconded by Dennis, that we approve the everyday math upgrade. Is there any discussion?
It makes sense for the kids to have the workbooks and the teachers not to have the supporting stuff with it, especially when you get such a good deal.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
5.03, approval to declare old printers as surplus property and advertise for their sale.
Kim, these came out of, when we did the Toshiba rollover, they replaced all these printers. And I think the figures that you have on, have listed or suggested prices, is that?
Right. We looked at Amazon used price for the copiers and printers that we had, and we just did an asking price in the next column. We were going to put it on KASB classified and then also on the listserv for tech directors. It's part of the Toshiba contract that if we went with them, it would just be their computers, their their ink. Cartridges, that's the word I was looking for, the cartridges. So basically anything that we had, our laser jets, our HPs, they're all pulled out, and now the Toshibas or Lexmarks are theirs.
Are you going to throw it on the district's website so internal people could buy if they want one?
We'll put it everywhere we can think, and
I can say, there's one here I think I might like to have, so.
Well, we got a dick.
We could do that.
so we just need to
I'm going to
approve that.
approve the printers as surplus
Second.
property.
Moved by Brian, seconded by Dennis, to declare the old printers as surplus property and advertise for their sale. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. 5.04, approval to declare guns as surplus property and donate to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. You don't usually hear this in front of a school board.
No.
I was going to say,
Locks.
Go ahead.
how do we end up with guns?
Well, criminal justice
Are you
program.
sure?
That when we started this years ago with Sheriff Craig they, Davis, like, there was a Sheriff Craig in Finney County. But anyway, they the school purchased these guns for the kids enrolled in that program to use for training purposes, and they've had them for years. And we haven't done this for a long time, and actually before the sheriff retired, asked me about, well, what do we need to do with these guns, and this is what he suggested. And it kind of fell off the radar again, and they approached me again, hey, we still have these 3 guns, so we need to declare them surplus and donate them to the sheriff's department, and they will use them for, they're pretty worn, but they will use them in whatever capacity they can. That may be disposing them or use them for target practice or whatever, but we need to, we don't want the guns.
No, I don't think the school only wants to own 3 Glocks.
No.
And this won't get converted or diverted to the FBI undercover program. Because, you know, we probably need a good record, don't we?
Yeah.
To make sure we don't have any serial number problems, right?
There you go. I'll make the motion to donate these, declare them surplus property and donate them to the sheriff's department.
Second.
Been moved by David, seconded by Brian to donate the Glocks to the sheriff's department and declare them as surplus property. Any discussion? Not all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. All right. Too bad the principals left. They might not have agreed with that. They can keep those around or something. All right. Executive session for negotiations, 6.01.
How long, Dean?
15 minutes, and Brian.
Yeah. I move that the board go into executive session for the purpose of discussing matters relating to the employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representatives or representatives of the body, and the board return to the open meeting at 9:00 p.m. in this room. The executive session is required to protect the district's right to the confidentiality of its negotiation position and a public interest, to include the board, Dean Cat, and Rouse.
Second.
Been moved by Dennis, seconded by Susan, that we go into executive session for negotiations. Any discussion? Not all those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.